Hey guys, this is Mrs. Weisenborn. So I found out last minute yesterday that I had to go to a meeting during your class. So I'm really sorry I'm not there, and trust me, I would much rather be hanging out with you guys than being in a meeting. So I have some really quick notes for you. You're definitely going to want to pause the video and possibly rewind it at times. You just need a piece of paper and something to write with, and write down anything that seems valid to you. And then I'm going to have you guys do a homework assignment. And I've already worked out half of the answers so that you have examples to reference while you're trying to do the homework. And then, of course, I'll try to clarify anything that I can when I get back. So 2.2 is all about conditional statements. Conditional statement is an if-then statement. So I'm sure you hear these all the time from your parents. If you clean your room, then you can go to the mall. Okay, it has if and then in it. So for example, if it is a cat, then it has fur. A lot of times these don't even have to be true or even make sense. Conditional statement, so it has an if and then most of the time. The hypothesis is always after if, and we use the letter P to represent the hypothesis. So in this case, the hypothesis is it is a cat. You don't include the if. Conclusion usually comes after then. So in this case, it has fur. That's the conclusion, and we use Q to represent that. Sometimes a statement won't have a then, and that's okay. Find the if, and whatever's left over, that has to be the conclusion. So what I want to do is just take statements and turn them into conditional statements. So our first example is a triangle has 3 sides. Don't change the order. If triangle is first and then sides, keep it that way. So if it is a triangle, then it has 3 sides. That's simple. Next one, all peacocks have feathers. If it is a peacock, then it has feathers. Don't add words. For some reason, people want to say, if peacocks have feathers, then it is a bird. Don't add anything. If the problem doesn't say anything about a bird, don't say anything about a bird. Okay, so our main ideas are peacocks and feathers. So if it is a peacock, then it has feathers. Keep it simple, keep the same order. Venn diagrams, hopefully this is something that you've seen before. You can use a Venn diagram to show a conditional statement. So for example, it's always if P then Q. Okay, so for example, if it is a pineapple, then it is a fruit. It wouldn't make any sense for those to be switched around. You wouldn't want to say if it is a fruit, then it's a pineapple. Okay, because there are other fruits besides pineapple. But pineapple really can't be classified as anything else other than fruit. That's true. If it says all students love pizza, this is another example where you could use this. So you would want to have students on the inside and then pizza. All students love pizza. Okay, and again, it doesn't have to be true. Here's another one. So if you go to William Byrd High School, then you are a terrier. So you want to put the WBHS part first, then terrier. It doesn't make any sense to say all terriers go to WBHS because there might be other schools that have the mascot terrier. But if you go to William Byrd High School, then your mascot is terrier. There's no other option. So this picture where you have one circle inside of the other works for the if-then conditional statement. It also works if it says something about all. So all students love cookies. Well, you will put students and then cookies. Okay, the part that comes first is probably going to be the smaller part, because it's normally your hypothesis. If it says some students are athletes, the some Venn diagram is going to overlap. So this is what sometimes looks like. All looks like the circle within another circle. And then none, there will be no relationships. They're not touching. Okay, here are some very important symbols that you need to know. The little tilde, or the squiggly as I call it, is negation, which means not. So if you see that in front of something, it just means the opposite of that. The 3 dots that make a triangle are therefore. So when we're talking and we make a conclusion, we're like, oh, okay, therefore, this is true. The arrow pointing this direction means if or then, like the conditional statement, or also implies. The arrow going upward, kind of like the mountain or the carrot, is and I always remember this because it kind of looks like the letter A, it just doesn't have the line drawn across. and then the V shape is or. If you have a double arrow, arrows going both directions, that's a biconditional. It means if and only if. And we'll talk more about that in a later section. So make sure you know these symbols. Again, I'm going very quickly, so please pause the video to write these down and anything else. Okay? I don't expect you to keep up with what I'm doing because it's already written. So here's some examples of negation. So if I have my P being Vinton is in Virginia, then not P, just the opposite, Vinton is not in Virginia. You don't want to change the words that are in the statement. So if it said something like, I don't know, maybe the water is cold. The opposite of the water is cold would be the water is not cold. You don't want to change it to hot. So use the same words, just throw in a not, or you can take out a not. So if your P is already negated, dogs do not bark, then not P would be dogs bark. So if you have negation, just put in or take out with a not. We're going to practice using those symbols a little bit more, so rewriting the statement in symbolic form. So I've said that P is clean my room and Q is mom won't yell at me. So this statement is already given to us. If I clean my room, then my mom will yell at me. So the first part, if I clean my room, is exactly the same, so that's why I've written down P. The then is the arrow symbol. My mom will yell at me. That's the opposite of what was originally stated as Q. So we want to put squiggly Q because this part is the opposite of the original Q. The next example, P equals don't like pizza, Q is do like Jello. I like pizza, which is the opposite of which was stated for Q, so I put not P. Therefore, so I put 3 dots because that's the symbol for therefore, I don't like Jello, which again is the opposite of Q. It doesn't matter what's here, if it's not or whatever, we're looking in relationship to what Q previously was. Last one, I like Jello and I like pizza. So I like Jello, that was the Q piece, and symbol was the little mountain, and then I like pizza, which is the opposite of P. Okay, one of the last things we're going to talk about today is conditional, converse, inverse, contrapositive. And there's a lot of information here today, so please, again, just keep up with me best as you can, and then I'll talk more about all this stuff next class if you need me to. A lot of it's just memorization. You have to know the symbols, you have to know what conditional, converse, inverse, and contrapositive are. The conditional is just P implies Q. The converse is when you switch them, so Q then P. So for example, the conditional statement is if you brush your teeth, then you do not get a cavity. Well, we're going to switch the hypothesis and conclusion around. So the converse would be if you do not get a cavity, then you brush your teeth. So you keep the exact same thing, exact same value, switch around. The inverse is when you negate it. So it's going to be the opposite. Same order as the conditional, but just the opposite values. So if you do not brush your teeth, then you get a cavity. Same order, teeth, cavity, just different values. Contrapositive, we want to both switch and negate. So if you get a cavity, then you do not brush your teeth. One more example of that, or maybe a couple more. If the conditional is if you text and drive, then you crash your car. So the converse, crash your car, then you text and drive. Inverse, do not text and drive, then you do not crash your car. And the contrapositive, do not crash your car, do not text and drive. Okay, here's another example. I'll just let you look at that for a sec. And you can pause it here if you want to spend more time on that. Here's another example if you need more examples. If not, at this time, what you need to do is get your workbook, go to section 2.2, which is on page 39. And what you need to do is, I've already worked out most of these for you. I've worked out 1 through 19 odd. You need to do the evens. There may be a few extras in there. You don't need to do number 18 unless you really want to. What I've done is I've already worked out most of the odd ones and I've put it on Blackboard. So whenever you're done watching this video and you get out your homework, you can follow along. So there are little notes and little hints. And also I worked out number 1. You can look through my work and then you can try number 2 because it's very similar. I've circled all the ones on the PDF that I've put up on Blackboard so you know which ones to do. Okay? I hope this helps and makes sense. You're always welcome to look for more videos on YouTube. If you're having trouble understanding conditional statements, then you can just go to YouTube and type in conditional statements. If you're having trouble with the converse, inverse, contrapositive, you can type that in and find more videos. Okay, I'll see you guys next time.